Thank you, Nicole, and welcome.
Thank you. I just want to say hi, you mob, and I'm Nicole Hewlett, and I'm a proud Palawa woman from Lotrawita in Tasmania, and I present to you today from Turrbal and Yagara lands of Mianjin in Brisbane. I'd like to pay my deepest respects to elders past, present, and emerging of this beautiful country, and extend this same respect to any Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples watching this today.
Thank you. Now, we're just going to get you to start off by telling us a bit about the diversity of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander cultures.
Is our map up on screen? Awesome. So as you can see, if you have a look at the map here, it's a map of all the different Aboriginal language groups that we have here in Australia, and there are about roughly 300, and each community varies not only according to geographic location, environment, and resources, but they each have their own unique cultural practices, histories, languages, beliefs, knowledge, and kinship systems. And even within these communities, there are significant variability and nuances with families within each community and the songlines that get handed down. So you can imagine how, given the diversity, how overwhelming it can be when someone is asked to speak on behalf of all of Aboriginal peoples. You can only ever do that sort of thing in a very vague and broad sense. And then when we add our Torres Strait Islander brothers and sisters, then well, they may as well be in a completely different country and culture altogether. And I certainly cannot speak on behalf of these mob any more than I could speak on behalf of, say, a Chinese person. But I do pass on information and advocate on their behalf when I have their permission.
That's great, thank you. So what are some of the things, given that we've talked about diversity already, but what are some of the things that are similar across cultures in terms of understanding health and well-being?
I suppose, I mean, one of the very similar things that I'm sure everyone's aware of is our history of oppression and dispossession, which meant for a lot of us denying our identity in order to be classified as human or as a citizen of Australia so that we could access privileges and a better life. And I suppose given this history of colonisation, it's really important to emphasise that if someone identifies as Aboriginal and or Torres Strait Islander, it does not necessarily mean that they're automatically connected to culture, country and kinship. The stolen generations, for example, meant that many Aboriginal kids were removed from their families and communities and raised to be non-Indigenous, with no information given to them about their heritage. So I just wanted to premise with that before I talk about some of the similarities across our cultures traditionally. So traditionally, and for a lot of us Aboriginal people today and Torres Strait Islander peoples, even those that have taken on other introduced religions like Christianity, our beliefs around health and well-being are grounded in a sense of belonging. So it's a belonging to land, to sea, other people, to one's culture. So many of us believe that we come from the land, and when we pass, we go back to the land, and that we are all on this, we are all spirits, and we're on this life, death, life continuum. And if you can see there's a artwork which sort of captures that life, death, life continuum done by Uncle Mick Connolly there. Many of us believe that all living things, so people, animals, plants, rocks, all have a spirit, and that these spirits connect the living to the past, present, and the future, and that we, including myself, are connected to our ancestors through things like country and ceremony, and even ourselves with our stories. And we're also connected to the ancestors of the future because we are the ancestors of the future. So you can see why country is so significant to us. It is our connection to our past in terms of our ancestors. It's important to our present day in terms of our health, that it's connected to us through our future. In Aboriginal society, everything and everyone is interrelated, it's interconnected. The land, family, stars, there's a oneness, and this is what we call the dreaming. For Torres Strait Islander peoples, their spirituality tends to draw more upon stories of Tagai. So given this perspective, our health and well-being is extremely holistic, as you can tell, and it's transcendent. And when it comes to palliative care, many of us need to return spirit back to country in order for that life, death, life journey to continue. Different communities have different protocols and ceremonies around that, but traditionally the life-death-life continuum and the relationship to country is a similar theme across all of our cultures.